Hello everybody and welcome. Zasillygoose here, and today I have for you one of my favourite decks. It's a deck that I've been building ever since I first came to Magic, especially Standard, way back. I say way back, it wasn't that long ago, but it's Mono Blue Tempo, and it's a deck that every season I try to build a Mono Blue Tempo deck every set release, so every season. There's cards that are added. One's actually just come out, which has really piqued my interest, which is the Secret Invasion, which is kind of like a Sheltered by Ghosts, but for blue. So it'll be interesting to see where that comes in. Um, but if you've been soaking in the screen here, you'll see that it's lots of two ofs as there usually is in my decks. I'm a strange deck builder, I know. But it offers me a good spread, and there's a sideboard. So of course this is best of three, as it always is. And it's a Mono Blue Tempo deck. It's not in essence exactly as I'd like it to be, because there's no like one mana aura in Standard that attaches to a evasive creature and helps you draw a card, which is like the backbone of every tempo deck that I've ever played. But alas, this deck is good. So we'll start with the evasive creatures. So the whole idea is to get on board early. Evasive creatures punch in for some damage. You'll probably see there is a card missing here that you'd probably think, why is it not in here? Thinking about it, especially when you see Saboteur Strategist. But we've got Spectral Sailor, which is a flash 1/1 Spirit Pirate. He has flying, and he has 3 and a blue. Draw a card. So really, everything a tempo deck could ask for. He's got flash, he's got flying, and he draws cards later in the game, so he's never a dead draw. I can't speak. Spyglass Siren is probably one of the best 1 mana blue creatures for tempo decks I've seen, probably. It's a 1 mana 1/1 fly. We all know what it does. But when this creature enters, create a map token, and you can set the map token to get lands or make him bigger. Her bigger, I think it is actually. That moves us into our 2 drops with my favourite, possibly one of my favourite creatures of all time, Azura Beastbinder, which is a 2 mana 1/3 rat rogue with vigilance, very important. I love the fact that it's got vigilance, and whenever this creature can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or greater. Whenever this creature attacks, up to one target artifact, creature, or planeswalker an opponent controls loses all abilities until your next turn. If it's a creature, it also has base power 2/2 until your next turn. So this blanks fucking Aurora Boreads, it blanks Planeswalkers of every description. Well, I can't think of any important artifacts. It blanks Solemn Simulacrum or whatever it's called. You know, it does so much for a 2 mana creature, and it's a 1/3, so it blocks really well with the vigilance. It's the best piece of removal I've seen, in my opinion, and it never fails to produce for me, really. And as you'll see, perhaps in some of the games, depending on what ones I choose, from the batch, you'll probably see him put in a bit of work. I maybe put in a little montage of the Beastbinder putting in work, but anyway, he's a good card, and he just really stabilizes the board. It means that no matter what our opponent puts on the board, we blank the most important thing and still get through for a point of damage. Again, it would be lovely to have that aura that draws cards. But then we've got Buzzbots. Strange include, I guess, but it's a 2 mana 1/1 flying vigilance, and when it dies, you draw a card. It's super simple, bread and butter. It's got flying and vigilance, so it's really good for poking in for that one little damage that we like to do while we control the board with other things. And when it does eventually die, which it will do blocking, we will draw a card. So, you know, chances are it's going to die on our opponent's turn, so we get to draw a card before our turn. So, you know, it works. Fluppet's Drowner is in here as a 2 of as well. We all know what Flippet's Drowner does. Flash Vigilance, it taps a creature and you put a stun counter on it, and you can shuffle that creature in. It's just a good piece of removal, I guess, in a way, because you can shuffle it back in, but it's good tempo. We've got a 1/1 Shitong Librarian, because it's just a very good card. I could have more than one in, but when I tried that, I noticed that I was holding one in hand for too long, or I draw two. You know, having a nice silver bullet copy is nice. You know, if it's early on in the game, you can catch someone with a fabled passage, maybe start to put some counters on it and draw some cards, or you can just draw it late in the game and just play a massive one-sheet hog in your opponent's scoop. So, you know, it works quite nicely. We move into the 3-drop creatures, just the one here, well, 2 of technically, but just the one creature, and that's Glenelendra Guardian, a 3-mana 3/4 with flash and flying. This creature enters with a -1/-1 counter on it, so it's actually a 2/3 when it enters, but you can play 1 and a blue and remove a counter from this creature and counter target non-creature spell. Its controller draws a card. So, again, it's tempo, a body on board that can swing in for damage, and it can also counter our opponent's non-creature spell, which is very nice. We round out our creature suite here with a 2 of Saboteur Specialist, which you're all thinking, why is Enduring Curiosity not in here? And it probably should be, to be quite honest with you. It really probably should be. But Saboteur Strategist is a really underrated card for what it does in the deck and its place. I don't think I even have any Enduring Curiosity in the sideboard. No, I don't. It's a 4 mana 2/2. which isn't a great start probably, but it's a Vidalcan Ranger, Flying Vigilant. Whenever one or more creatures attack you, those creatures get -1, -0 until end of turn. This is so important in the mid to late game. If we are struggling to push through damage, this has Flying and Vigilance as well, so it can block things, it can attack and block, and it just that little bit of cushion, you're not taking as much damage, and that's massive. Blocks are all messed up. Blocks in the air are all messed up. Importantly, that -1 does a lot. Um, if they're attacking at you with their own little piddly flyers, you can just block and kill them. But it has exhaust as well for 5 and 2 blue, which is just a mana sink flare. You can put 3+1/+1 counters on it, making it a 5/5 flying vigilance, which is, it's pretty good. And Quantum Riddler is the other card in the deck, which is probably why I haven't gone with Enduring Curiosity, because Quantum Riddler does everything I need it to do. We all know what it does. 5 mana, 4/6 with flying. It's a Sphinx. And when it enters, you draw a card. And as long as you have one or fewer cards in hand, if you would draw one or more cards, you draw that many cards +1 instead. And it has warp for 1 and a blue. So it's a 2-drop, which is why the 2-drop slot looks a bit light here. So that's the creatures. 26 of them in all, I think it is. Where do I see this information? 24. I was wrong. 24. But every good tempo deck needs interaction, and apart from Flippit's Drowner and Azurabi Spider and stuff, we've got 2 bounce off, because that can save our own creatures as well as tempo our opponents. Into the Floodmoor, because it's a bounce piece for non-land permanents, which does come in handy. It's really funny to bounce like a Sheltered by Ghosts or something, or bounce the creature. No, the Sheltered by Ghosts works sometimes as well. We've got Spell Pierce, a 2 of Spell Pierce, just to catch them in the early game. That's why it's not a 4 of. It's not very good later on, especially in the standard that we've got at the moment with the big mana spells. We have also got Drix's Interception as a 2 of, which is the 3 mana counter spell from whatever set it was. It was only last year, but choose one or both. Counter target spell, or you can and tap 1 or 2 target creatures. So this is a really good kind of like turn 3 or 4 play, where you've been setting up with these early little pieces, and then your opponent goes to board wipe, and then you tap down both of their creatures so they can't attack, blank the board wipe, and then swing in next turn with your guys. And that's the interaction. Probably not a lot, but it's enough when you consider that you've got the creatures gumming up the board as well. In terms of draw spells, we've got a 2 of Stock Up and a 2 of Donatello's Technique. Donatello's Technique works quite nicely because we can return like Spyglass Siren to our hand, or One Sheep Tong, or Floodpit's Drowner. Quantum Riddler, for instance, we can return them to our hand and play them again, which gives us extra value, obviously. But draw 2 cards for 1 mana is very good, and you do quite often do that, although I don't mind paying 3 mana for it, to be honest, sometimes. And I think, other than the lands, which we'll come on to here, that rounds out the main portion of the deck. The lands, we've got 2 Agna Quail, we've got 16 islands, Ammon Kept Raceway to give our creatures haste, 1 Demolition Field, 1 Fountain Port, and 1 Secluded Starforge. Secluded Starforge is just a mana sink for later on in the game. It's a creature land. And we can tap X untapped artifacts you control, and target creature can get +X +0 until end of turn. Spyglass Siren creates artifact tokens. I think that's about it. But the sideboard is a typical blue sideboard. It's just full of counter spells. So we've got 2 Annul, because I am sick to the back teeth of the Unholy Annex decks and every artifact that's floating around standard right now, and enchantment. We've got a 1 of Ghost Vacuum for those graveyard decks. We've got 1 of Detect Intrusion, because it can counter triggered abilities, which is sometimes important depending on the matchup. It was a bit more important when we had like the Elementals deck running around standard. 2 Essence Scatter for obvious reasons, 2 Negate also for obvious reasons, 1 for Ooze because it creates mutagen tokens and those make our creatures bigger. 2 Confounding Riddle. This looks like a strange one, but if Donatello's Technique isn't working, for instance, we can bring this in as a straight swap. We can look at the top 4 cards and put 1 of them into our hand, the rest in our graveyard, or we can counter a spell. So it's good against control decks because we can sub out the Donatello's Technique and bring in a counter spell at 3 mana, an extra counter spell at 3 mana, as well as not lose out on card draw. 2 Etherize, because if we're up against massive sweeper decks, we need massive token decks, we need some form of sweeper. Sometimes we just don't get to 4 mana in current standard. Sometimes it works out. And then rounding off the sideboard, we've got 1 Stoic Sphinx and 1 Unagi of Kinoshi Island. These are both in here for control games where, we are going to go a long time and we can surprise them maybe when they've tapped out with one of these big boys. And they're both hard to interact with, importantly, so they come into the place of like the Saboteur Specialist. So that's the deck. And remember, if you like what you see, hit the like and subscribe button. It would mean a lot to me. I'm trying to reach 25 subscribers. It keeps the lights on around here, and it just means that I can keep doing what I love, which is making magic decks and playing Magic, I guess. All of these videos to come after this have been recorded on Twitch, so you'll probably see or hear me talk to people in there. And if you'd like to join me on there, all the links are down in the description as well. And I hope you have a good day. And remember, this goose would love some bread. Peace. We will always play first chat. Always. We will keep this. 2 pieces of interaction, 2 pressure creatures. This deck kind of falls off a little bit, I think, once rotation occurs, but rotation isn't until, what, next year? Next January? Another land. Well, we will play the other Spyglass Siren. We'll get another map token. We will pump up this Spyglass Siren. We draw a land. Of course we do. I mean, at least it's one of the... At least we get a chance to see it. We get a chance to see it. Start your engines, land. A Donatello's Technique. Well, we've only got 1 mana interaction, so let's attempt to get what we want, which we do. We will return the Spyglass Siren to our hand. We will draw 2 cards. We'll deal 2 damage. Up to 2. The haste might come in handy. Lunar Convocation. Interesting. Spectral Sailor. Lunar Convocation. Very interesting. You can get bats, don't you? If you gained and lost life this turn. So we have to care about Restless Fortress. Beastbinder cannot blank this. Buzzbots. Buzzbots. Do we want to? We don't need cards. Let's Spyglass Siren. I don't know what this deck is. So let's just go for... Okay, we'll draw land. Okay, I mean, you can never be too upset, I suppose, about land. Our opponent's down to 14. If we hold up the Azure Beastbinder when it can have haste, we might be able to blank whatever it is that comes our way. You know, that's the main reason why I put it in here. Being able to give Beastbinder haste is a bit broken, especially since they know we have it as well. Well, 5 lands. Our opponent's on 4 lands. They're going to pay 2 life to draw a card, okay. Okay. Halaya. We will bounce the Lunar Convocation back to their hand so they don't get a 1-1. Sure. Yep. You gain a life, but you don't get anything from it. I don't give a shit if you've got that 1-1 either. Donatello's Technique. Well, I will swing. We will return this Spyglass Siren to our hand. 2 lands. Wow. Wow, wow, wee wah. Wow, wow, wee wah. Really not that great for us. Let's just get our big boy out. They're probably going to replay the Convocation and a few other things. Enduring Tenacity. Interesting. Well, we will turn that off. Let's draw a card. Let's play Beastbinder. Let's give it haste. And then let's swing in and blank the Enduring Tenacity. What are you going to do about that? We're definitely going to bring a null in to this game from this sideboard. But the Amoket Raceway already proving its absolute worth here. Okay, they're down to 4. Enduring Tenacity has been blanked. They probably have a whole host of ways to gain life. Interestingly, the bounce off saves something. Sheltered by Ghosts. Let's blank the Sheltered by Ghosts by bouncing the Tenacity. There you go. Have that. Yeah. Did I bring the annuls in? I did. I'm not sure what they are. Oh dear. Okay. We cut a land, so they gain a life. Sure, you can have your life. If they play Lunar Convocation now, I'll be sad because we've got the negate. They don't. Hinterland Sanctifier, sure. They're probably gonna. They're a life gain deck, so I imagine that they're gonna be playing a whole host of horrible creatures like a Ajani Pridemate and so on and so forth. Leader's Talent. We will negate that. We will negate that. Another Spectral Sailor. Okay. We've got some damage on board, I guess. You're just going to swing. This is where this deck is lovely, because we can just hold up all of our flash threats. And our opponent is terrified that we're going to do something. Well, we can now draw a card off of the Spectral Sailors. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put a +1/+1 counter. Okay. Okay. I don't mind that. Are you going to put a +1/+1 counter on him? Yep. Yeah, you can have this. Oh, draw a card. We get a land. Oh, and an interception. I don't mind that at all either. Right, we'll swing for 4. 3, sorry. Well, they have no idea that Grixis interception exists. I don't think. Terminus. Do you want to fight for Terminus? Do you want to fight for it? You do want to fight for it. Okay. You can have it. You can have it. Enduring Innocence. I don't care about Enduring Innocence. I don't care. I don't care. Yeah, you lose 3 life, and now I'm just going to shuffle it back into your library. Another bounce off. No, I'm not going to do that, actually. I'm going to hold up my Grixis Interception and my bounce offs. Yep. What do you want to do, buddy? Halaya. It doesn't trigger the Enduring Innocence, so you can have it. You can have it. Gaining some life. Ah. Ah. Yes, I mean, that needs to be countered. Absolutely it does. So we'll tap out their things. Have you got another creature in hand to trigger the Halaya again? Do we want them to draw a card next turn? This turn? If that's the case, we've got the 2 bounce offs that we need to use very sparingly. They draw a load of cards, they lose 3 again. They're going to take a little bit this turn from us. 3, 4, 5. A Beast Binder doesn't save them. Doesn't save us. But it does make things difficult for them. Right, the bounce offs we can use to save our creatures or blank their ones. So if they play Halaya here. Okay, they play a different Halaya. Nice. Sure. Yep. You're going to play the other Halaya. Well, you can't play the other Halaya. A Life Creed duo. Okay. I'm going to bounce the Romero to their hand. They might gain too much life for us to deal with. To be quite honest with you. Ah, a redo. Creature spells you control have Convoke. We're going to return that to your hand. Yeah, they're up to 9. We're going to struggle. We're going to struggle to see out the damage here. It was a good attempt. They've not really played the cards that I imagine they'd play. Spyglass Siren. Right. Map on up. We do draw the land. A Sacred Fountain. A Sacred Fountain? Let's blank the Life Creed duo. If they want to take the 2, yeah, if they want to block the Flopit's Drowner and gain 2, that's fine. Yeah, they're down to, they're up to 7. We're in a tight spot. It's not over. It's not over. The Urdu scares me. Because, you know, all their creatures now have Convoke. And they're gaining a shit ton of life. So maybe this is over. I don't see us punching through enough damage to make all this count. It's fun, interesting build. A very interesting build with this. An exemplar of light. I think maybe we go with more essence scatters. It's a land. Of course it is. Of course it is. Yeah, okay, that's a good game. That's a good game. We're not going to be able to come back from that. I think we bring in the damage after with the life gain for it to matter. But we will attempt. We need a mono blue version that gives all of our flies +1/+1. That's what we need. I mean, there is probably a mono blue tempo deck. There is a 2-color tempo deck. The other one, white blue, that can utilize that. What's the one that's flying? That's not dazzling technique. That's lofty denial. Ooh, dark Leo and shredder. Okay. Sure. We will blank that with the Beastbinder. We don't have to use the Donatello's technique just yet. They don't do anything. Well, a leader's talent. I think we've got to counter that, to be honest. That puts so much of our life total under pressure. It blanks them for this turn. Yes, we've spent 3 mana countering a 2-mana spell, but they can just do so much with this. Another land is not ideal. A Donatello's technique will help us here, though, for 1 mana, which is why it's in the deck. And a null. Okay. I'll keep an null. I mean, we've just seen a leader's talent, so a Lunar Convocation, Spectral Sailor, not Spectral Sailor, Sheltered by Ghosts. You know, that ilk. Sinister Monolith. At the beginning of combat on your turn, each opponent loses a life and you gain a life. We will annul that. We want to try and negate all of your life gain as much as we can. Draw a land. We didn't want a land deck. Thank you. We didn't want a land. At least we've got Spectral Sailor to help us draw some cards. We will do it in response to something, so it looks like we've got Elegy Acolyte. Okay. It's a Spell Pierce. It's not what we wanted. You can swing if you want to with the Dark Leo and Shredder. Another Spell Pierce. Okay. I still... Do I care about the Dark Leo and Shredder? This has got lifelink, so this is what we blank. Again, are they going to swing in here? They do swing on in. They swing on in. They don't swing with the Elegy Acolyte. They do with the Dark Leo. Right, we will draw a card with Spectral Sailor. It's a land. Then we will into the Floodmoor, the Dark Leo and Shredder. And see what that does for them. They'll probably just replay it. Phyrexian Arena. How much do you want that Phyrexian Arena? Okay, it deals damage to you, which is okay at the moment. We get another into the Floodmoor, so I'll take that. I will take that. We're punching them in the face for 2, slowly but surely get in their chat. Slowly but surely get in there. We will counter the Shark Mage's Rescue. You are not allowed to gain life. It is an absolute no-no. You can draw all the cards you want, but you're not gaining any life. Not on my watch. What are you going to do? You're going to power up the Restless Fortress? You're going to play the Dark Leo and Shredder. Yes. Leader's Talent. We can't do anything about that just yet. Do you know what? I'm going to return it to their owner's hand. And then I'm going to draw a card. Wan Shi Tong. Drix's Interception, so we win, I think. I think we've got this sewn up enough to maybe take this home here. Yeah, you draw a card. Sinister Monolith. Sure. Pay 2 life, sacrifice this artifact, draw 2 cards. Whenever a creature you control leaves the battlefield. Okay. I think we just win here, don't we? We just play a big one Shitong in their end step. No, not in their end step. X equals 6. X equals 6. Yeah, we'll block and kill the Dark Neo and Shredder. I mean, again, this is just a. Oh, they don't die. They don't die straight away. Oh, they do. They do from the Phyrexian Arena. Actually, I think their own Phyrexian Arena kills them, which is interesting. We will turn that off. Push it down to 1. Good game. Yes, yes. Right, okay. Very, very good. We rank up. Beautiful. 3 and 1. 3 and 1.